Hi there. So I wanted to do a quick video today on something that came up for me the other day, and I just wanted to share it with everybody. So it's this idea of fighting this invisible enemy outside of oneself. So it's particularly rampant in the sort of social justice area. And I feel like a lot of spiritual people, people on a spiritual journey that are actively working on themselves, we've realized we understand that if we want to manifest something and we want to change our lives and our experience, that we have to shift our energy and our thoughts and our subconscious beliefs on it. We have to do that inner work. And we know that we can't go out and beg somebody to be with us, or we can't kind of try and you can get like money and a house and stuff, but it's so much it's always going to be elusive if you haven't shifted your subconscious beliefs. I think our subconscious makes up something like 92% of our experience, something like that. So if you want to change your experience, the absolute fastest way to do it by far is a subconscious shift, a belief shift. But I feel like a lot of us sort of forget this when it comes to social justice and social consciousness and all the stuff that goes on. I'm guilty myself, over COVID period especially. I was online a lot more, and I ended up getting involved in so many of these stupid online debates. And everybody's very defensive, so then you become defensive, and it always ends up with some kind of personal insult being thrown, and it really just leaks our energy. And absolutely, is there people out there that understand how to use energy and how to sort of keep everybody's energy just like stuck and hating on one another? Yes. But if you're engaging in it, you're like part of the problem, like even if you think you're fighting for freedom or fighting for good or fighting for something, if you're fighting in the real world, then you're still engaged in social consciousness. You're not actually shifting your subconscious and actually shifting the reality. It's like there'll always be somebody to fight against, like if that's your role, that you're like fighting for freedom, there'll always be someone else that you've got to fight, because you're just in a fighting mode. And I saw this, it came because somebody sent me like a self-help guy, and I was watching it. I won't say the name. And he just seemed so downtrodden to me. And I just energetically could feel that he was just always in this like fight. And he wasn't glowing. He didn't look happy. He looked miserable and like on the verge of a breakdown, honestly. And I think a lot of us people that are on a journey of sort of really trying to, grow and expand ourselves and find our own like truth and core, we've gotten a bit kind of led astray by this one. I know I certainly did for a bit, because we're like, yeah, no, we've got to fight, we've got to go out there and fight. But really, we've just been hooked in as well. That's how I see it anyways, because we're being hooked in to waste all of our time and drain and siphon all of our energy into this sort of ridiculous online thing, because it all happens online. There's not much happening in the real world. 90% of it is just an online huge argument with everybody just getting defensive and aggressive, and then some personal insults come out when someone can't win. Very little of it is actually, if you had the right energy over all these periods, you probably would live your life and not even really know that this stuff was going on, because in your subconscious, you're free. You feel free, so you're going to experience freedom, and I think a lot of us, we agree with all these things on other things because they're tried and tested, but then when it comes to these social constructs and this social consciousness, we're like, no, on this one, we've got to like go in there and fight. And fighting generally is just like arguing with people on the internet. Whenever I meet really successful people they're not really bothered by this stuff, actually. They don't really give it attention, and they're actually a lot more logical than you realize. Most of the very successful people I know have the same thoughts. They just don't waste their time fighting people about it all the time. They just focus on themselves. And the thing is, when you build yourself and you build your money and you self-focus and you're not like leaking and draining your energy on these things, which is what people I'm sure want us to be doing, is leaking our energy so we're not successful and we don't take a part of that power, then at that point, you can actually create systems of change, and you can actually create things that do bring change. That's going to bring a lot more change than sort of wasting all of our energy just, on this fight, on this 3D fight, that we're just never gonna win. Because how long have people, been fighting social consciousness? Probably most of society. I'm sure if we go back thousands of years, there's instances where this was, especially if we look at like the Roundheads and the Cavaliers, and did that create some massive change in society? It's all created little incremental changes, but the big change is going to happen when we really understand it's in the subconscious, and that we like empower ourselves. So anyway, that was just what I wanted to say on that topic. Guilty as charged, because I've kind of engaged in so much of this social conscious fighting, but it's okay. We learn from our experiences, and we grow. And I realized how much energy that I was just leaking on other people that were just wasting all their time. Everybody involved in sort of any of this like fighting is just wasting. It's just, to me, it's just like leaking energy. And yes, be authentic. I do think we have to really stand sovereign, be authentic, but that doesn't involve like all this sort of fighting and arguing. And standing sovereign is just sort of standing sovereign and having no fear, knowing your rights as like a sovereign individual. These are things that make us sovereign. Going and getting involved in like a 5-hour debate on Facebook isn't being sovereign. It's kind of like this whole narcissistic thing. It's like you're kind of supplying them. And with a lot of this social consciousness stuff, a lot of it is about attention. That's what I honestly believe. It's a lot of it is like, how can I create 100 labels for myself and basically get like attention? And I think it's sort of a product of our modern society, that we all carry this to a degree, that we all carry like elements of narcissism where we want it all about us, and society is making this even more prevalent with the way that we all have like our YouTube pages and our Facebook pages, which are all about us. They're all about our selfies and things like that. And it's sort of creating a bit of that sense of that. And then I think this is just taking it that one step further, that, I need a label that no one else has. I need to be special. I need this sort of special label. Because there's nothing wrong with anything. Of course, we should all feel free to be whoever the hell we want to be, date whoever the hell we want to date. A truly enlightened state is just going where your heart flows, going where you feel. You don't really have to label yourself anything. Like, to me, labels are just divisive. They're not creating unity. They're creating a division between you and other people, because you're like, well, I'm this, and now we've gone so ridiculous with these labels. I sometimes see people's Facebook and there's 55 labels just for them. And it's this, wanting the tension in some subtle way, even though they're probably not aware of that. So if you then argue with them and feed into it, you're basically like kind of giving them what they want. And that's why this thing can go on for ages, because actually on a subconscious level, everyone's sort of getting what they want out of it. They're getting drama and arguments, and they're feeling, like they're getting attention, and the other person's feeling like they're winning. And you've got all these sort of ego templates that are just playing out, winning and losing, victim and savior. You've got all these programs that are just running between people. And I honestly think that the way to kind of ascend this is to just step away from it and to you know, realize that everything is within, that we create everything that we experience. And if we change our inner world, we're going to have a different outer experience, and it's going to be a lot quicker than trying to get there by fighting with people, you know, and arguing and trying to convince them that we're right. But anyways, yeah, I just wanted to put this video out. Totally guilty myself. I've done lots of this, especially over the last few years, gotten drawn in. And Facebook's designed like that, you know, it's designed by people to be as addictive as humanly possible. So of course you put one little comment and then you get the notification and you sort of get drawn back into it. Whereas if it was on any other app, you would probably just make a comment and walk away. And I'm sure there's like millions of bots as well. I bet a lot of the people we argue with aren't even humans. They're probably AI bots. And, you know, sometimes you can kind of even feel that because they don't really make sense. And think of the time that we're wasting by even engaging with someone that might not even be human or doesn't really make any sense or can only argue by insults, you know. And if we waste any time on them, we're literally just as guilty because we're giving them power. We're giving them power to exist. You know, when you feed these people by arguing with them, you're allowing them to exist. If everyone just ignored them, they would just hang around with each other and bother each other all day. You know, the fact is it's like with a narcissist, you know, with a true narcissist, you give the narcissist power by engaging with the narcissist. As soon as you block them and cut them off, like, they can't feed from you anymore. And there might be like a period where you sort of have to regain your strength, but you'll feel free, you'll feel amazing. They're not going to bother you anymore. They're only going to bother you while you're like feeding one another, you know, and you're going back in the cycle that you both want on a subconscious level, else you wouldn't be experiencing it. And this is where we have to get that understanding that everything that we experience in our life, we might not think we want it, but on a subconscious level, we want it. And actually the best way to integrate that is to accept that you want that experience right now and to take ownership of it. And then that sort of gets rid of all the victim mentality that you can have around, why is this happening to me? But that's another video. But sorry, it's been a bit disjointed, but I just wanted to like jump on and share this while I was thinking it. That's kind of what my channel is. It's just I have a thought and then I feel like sharing it, so I jump on. But yeah, I hope everyone's good, and I'm mostly on artwork at the moment. I sort of just do these videos every now and again when I have a thought that I feel might be helpful to somebody or I just want to share. But predominantly, yeah, I'm pretty more focused on like some other things in life. But yeah, I hope everybody is doing well, and I'll speak soon.